So I'm doing a fair bit of planning around the shaping and the contouring of the body. The arm bevel there is going to be quite an extreme bevel. I'll show you more about that shortly. But just for now, so I've drilled the holes, one there for the toggle switch. I'll have 2 volume controls and 1 tone control. And as I said earlier, based on where those holes came out at the back, I've taken 2 Forstner bits, a large one and a slightly smaller one, and drilled out most of the material for the control cavity. Now what will I do? I'll put together a template. That's the word I was searching for. It's after midnight. And route that out nice and cleanly. And then I'll just leave that until I'm ready to think about putting the controls in. And I will turn to, as I said, shaping the body or putting in the bridge or the pickup cavity. So many options. Let's decide soon. Now I need to make a template so that I can route that to a slightly nicer shape. It looks like Swiss cheese at the moment. So I just took a rubbing of where those holes are with a pencil and some paper. I used some French curves to assist me because I don't have a very steady or tidy hand. And I drew what looks like a pretty decent shape cavity on here. And then I'll drill that material out, or most of it, and then use my spindle sander to make it nice and tidy. Let's see how we go. I've just pressed record and I've realized what a messy table this is. Okay, maybe I should have recorded me doing that, but I didn't. So I've just sanded the inside of that shape. Who am I? Smooth. And sure enough, move the light. So that'll work well. That'll work nicely. So it's late at night and I don't want to disturb the neighbors with my router. They are very noisy things. So tomorrow I will clamp this on and take to this with my router. Yes, that's what I'll do. Now, hopefully that didn't seem like a long time to you because I had it all sped up, but that took a wee while. But the result is great. It's a, well, if I do say so myself, it's a rather nice cavity. Now I'm going to make a template for a slightly larger cavity to go around here. And it'll only go, oh, I don't know, 10 millimeters deep. And that'll be to make a wooden backplate that'll recess into the body. And I'll cut those as well so that they'll be recessed as well, but the plate will go straight around here so that screws can go into those things. You'll see what I mean. And there it shall sit, slightly larger than the cavity beneath. It doesn't have to be much bigger all the way around because I'm only going to put screws at 2, maybe 3 points. So that's fine. Now I'll just have to route it out. Do I want to go deeper? No, I think that's about right, actually. And there it is without the template sitting on it. That looks good. That came out well. Now I will need to take that template, use it to trace the shape onto a piece of wood, cut out the control cavity cover, sand it, get it thicknessed, and put it in. Simple as that. I'll have to think about what kind of wood to use. I'm undecided. I could use a tawa, like its environment so that it will blend in nicely. Or I could use something darker like Rimu, and then it would contrast with its surroundings. Either one of those would look good. So I'll have to think about it. I've put a round over all around the edge of the body on top and bottom. It's not going to be a bound body, and when you don't have binding, you generally need some sort of decorative feature on the edge. So I've gone with a simple round over. This corner here, however, well, that's where the arm bevel is, where your arm hangs over the front of the guitar. And with guitars that have a top, you don't always have the arm bevel, the arm contour in there, but I'm going to put one in there. In fact, I'm going to put quite an extreme bevel into that corner there. I don't know if anyone else has done it the way that I'm about to do it. They probably have, because there's really nothing new under the sun, but I'll show you what I'm going to do. So I've got that clamped down. It doesn't have to be super secure, just so that it doesn't go moving around when you do what I'm about to do. Sit tight one moment. You might think I'm a barbarian for going about things this way. So I've got the line here where the bevel begins, and I've got a line down here where the bevel ends, and basically there's going to be a straight line from there to there. So to set the depth, so I know exactly what I'm doing, how much to chisel off and rasp off, I'm going to cut that line. Can you believe I'm actually going to do this to my guitar? Well, let's go. Just stopping to check every now and then to make sure. I could hold my finger there right below the saw, but I won't do that because I will cut it. One advantage of doing this, of course, is that the saw is very straight. And that's about it. Now I can always file off more later, but I want to be careful not to go too deep. So basically I'm going to cut lines like this all around where the bevel is going to be. Here we are. Just from where that line is to where that line is, and then I can be quite sure that the line that I've cut between them, the new surface, is a straight line. The reason for doing this is so that as I chisel, as I rasp, I know exactly when to stop, and then I can refine things as necessary. I'll think about how to remove these bits that I'm cutting shortly. I have some ideas though. My only worry in doing this is that when I was gluing the top on, I didn't know that this is the technique I would later be using. I didn't realize I was going to do such an extreme bevel. If I had been thinking about it, I would have made sure that there was 100% coverage of glue under the top around here. I just hope it's not patchy, or that could give me some trouble. Too late now, really, isn't it? We'll find out, won't we? So that's pretty much the deep point. Well, maybe the next one is the deepest point. Nearly there. Okay. Now I wanted to make sure that the cuts were close enough together that the piece of wood was no wider than a chisel, because I'm thinking I may use a chisel to make the initial very rough cuts, very rough removals as I start to make this bevel. So let's see how that goes. Now the risk of these bits flying all the way up to where I am is pretty low, but nonetheless I'm wearing goggles and I have the earmuffs on as well. Right, there's a little bit more I'll need to take out there, but I'm going to move now to... That's good. You know you've got a decent sharp chisel, and it is still quite sharp when you can actually get decent cuts out without a mallet. Oh, that's nice. Just getting those last little bits of the saw cuts out now. And after I've finished with this tool, I will go to the Shinto saw rasp, which I imagine, having never done this before, I imagine will do a stunning job. What's nice about this as well, just like the saw, is that it is very straight. Okay, I like where this is going. And just because I can, and this is a fairly flat surface, I will, because I haven't used it much yet, I'll try out my Iwasaki file on there and see how smooth I can get that just by filing it. Now I'm going to have to go back to the saw rasp because I can see that some of those saw marks are still visible. That became clearer to me when I made the surface smoother with the Iwasaki. There will still be some smoothing to go. It's not perfectly smooth yet, but that's looking pretty good. So that is a fairly extreme bevel, which cuts through the top, so the top now appears as a, I guess, as a coloured stripe as part of that bevel. I like the look of that. I do.